What is up, tubers? T.O. here, Simplistic Fishing, back at you tonight to give you a recap of the THSBA event that we just got done doing down at Richland Chambers Reservoir on December the 4th. It was a good one. About 200 boats came out to fish the tournament. The winning bag was really pretty large. I can't remember what it ended up being. I think it was 18 or 19 pounds ended up winning this thing. But there were two people that had 18 and 19 pounds, something like that, and the rest of the field was 13 pounds and under. We ended up in the top 10, so super happy with that. Stick around. I'll tell you guys how we did it, where we fished, maybe not where we fished, but what types of patterns we fished, as well as what worked and what didn't. So here we go. Stick around. Got some good stuff for you. So I decided I'd start this one off really talking to you about Google Earth. So I just want to start off on Google Earth and kind of show you what we tried from a pattern perspective, the different things we tried to do in order to try to get bites and what worked and what didn't work. So one of the first things that we did, let me see if I can pull this up over here on the left-hand side. I believe I've got stick-ups already put in here. I thought I did. Yeah, we've got stick-ups right here. So the first thing I thought when I came to this lake was that we would try these stick-ups. Stick-ups in the past had produced really well for us in this lake. Docks had produced pretty good for us as well too. This lake has overall just been a really good lake to us. But the stick-ups were really good. We were always able to go in there with stick-ups and flip rage bugs and things like that into the bottom of those stick-ups and be able to get the bites. And things were going great. So in this case, we basically started off our pre-fishing one of the days and just said, you know what, let's go hit all of these stick-ups. So what we did is we started off, we hit the stick-ups right over here, just right across from Oak Cove. We hit those that were over there. We went up here, we fished the ones that were up by these bridges up in this area. There were a few up in here that actually aren't even marked. I need to mark those for you guys. We came down here, we fished some of the ones that are over here. We actually fished down by the dam as well. We fished the stick-ups that we could find down around in this area as well, and really just didn't have much luck. I think we caught 2 or 3 fish, and the fish that we caught were pretty small. So overall for that day, things weren't going that great. We pulled back, we fished some docks too, didn't have much luck fishing the docks, and then finally we decided, you know what, we're going to try to pull out the A-rig and go out. We had some wind that day. The wind was probably 15, 20 mile an hour, so we had some wind. So we decided to go out to the bridges and fish some A-rigs. And as soon as we did that, I ended up landing 2 5-pounders within about 20 minutes. So you guys can see the pictures here where I landed the fish. Super good day. If you take the fish that we got out of the stick-ups, just the smaller ones, there were 2 2.5 pounders plus our 2 kickers, which were 2 5-pounders. We would have ended up having a pretty good day. I think, 17, 18 pounds. So would have been right where we needed to be. But unfortunately, that was a practice day. So we came back the next weekend, switched off and said, okay, stick-ups weren't really working. We were kind of locked into that A-rig, thought, hey, if we can get this A-rig rolling, that's probably going to be the pattern we want to go with. That's where we're usually going to get our bigger fish. And usually from a tournament standpoint, that's usually what you want, right? Is those bigger fish, and that's usually what turns it on for us. So we tried that and nothing. There was no wind. The practice days as well as the tournament, just absolutely still calm, no wind whatsoever. So as we're practicing, we realized the A-rig's out, the stick-ups are out. So now what are we going to do? So the next thing to focus on obviously would be, looking at in the docks as well. We were out of the docks. The next thing to focus on would probably be rocks and points. And so we had heard that based on just some local information that was going on with the Tawaki tournament, that the bite was an early bite. It was something you had to get on almost immediately, get out there and get on the fish, because after about 8:30 it shut down. So once we kind of learned that actually made a big difference, because we were not getting to the lake until 7:30 or 8 o'clock. So we were pretty much only hitting the lake in that prime spot for say 30 minutes. And so we were really kind of missing that whole morning bite. So we adjusted, started getting down there a little bit earlier for our pre-fishing, which means we had to wake up at the crack of dawn to get down there. But we did. Went down there, we realized, yes, it definitely is a morning bite. So the key was to make sure that we were in the right spot in the morning of that tournament. And if we missed the spot, we knew we were going to be toast, because after about 8:30, 9 o'clock, it was tough for us to get a bite. There was an afternoon bite that happened during the tournament around 2 o'clock. From about 2 to 3, there was a pretty good afternoon bite. But from about 9 o'clock until 2 o'clock, even during the tournament, for us, it was pretty much just dead still. So as far as what we ended up doing, so we ended up figuring out that the pattern was actually rock on points. So we really just kind of looked at this. Actually, we went out here and took a look at the Google Earth stuff that I had out here, and we looked for offshore spots. So we just looked to see where I had marked for offshore. Down here, we had a lot of different points that were down around in this area that came out pretty flat and had some rock on top of them. So what we did is we basically just went around, found those shallow points with the rock, and then we picked them off one by one to figure out which ones had fish on them. And then we pretty much had about 5 or 6 different points, all ranging from basically in this area. And we found a couple up over here in this area as well. I don't want to give you guys my exact points. My son would kill me, but I'm just talking to you really about the pattern, because it wasn't really about the spots. Obviously the spots were key, but once you figured out that pattern, you could kind of figure it out throughout the rest of the lake. And you guys have heard me talk about that a lot. So in this case, basically we were looking for shallow, flat points that came out that had some rock on top of them. So if we pulled it back, let's say I go back here and pull it back to 2014, like this point right here would be a really good point, because one, it's very shallow, it's very flat. So we were able to basically cruise across and pick fish off over the top of it. But then really the ones that had rock on them, this one's got a little bit of rock right here, but the ones that had rock on them were pretty much the most productive ones. So we would just go across with Google Earth and look for those points that had rock. And once we found those shallow points that had rock, then we knew that we were getting somewhere. So let's say, for example, we come down here. One of these has a pretty decent rock pile off. I think it's this one. Right here, you can see we've got rock off the side of it. Now, this says shell. I'm not sure if that's shell, but definitely we have rock off the side of it, and we've got the shallow points. So this is what we were looking for. Anywhere we could find these shallow points where they came out and had rock on them, they almost always had fish on them. The key was, though, you had to find the right one in the morning, because they all had fish on in the mornings, but some of them had more fish on them than other ones. So I would say, for us, the bite was definitely the shallow points, and it had to have rock. If it didn't have rock, it really wasn't even worth fishing. So overall, boys did a great job. We ended up culling 3 fish, I think, over the day. We ended up with 5 keepers. We never really got a kicker fish ever. Never could find the kicker fish. Really only found fish in 2 of the 7 spots that we were rotating. But those 2 spots produced fish every time we went and visited them. So we ended up with 10.10 pounds. The boys did. Ended up finishing 10th out of 200 boats. So super proud of them there. And we're still waiting for the Angler of the Year results. But if everything goes great and the way that we think it's going to go, we should be able to have them take back over the Angler of the Year. So we got our fingers crossed for that, waiting for the results. If not in first, hopefully they can, or they definitely will, hold down their second place position. So looking forward to getting the results out for that. So hopefully that helps you guys out. If you're down there fishing on Chambers and you're scratching your head and you're wondering what the heck is going on, go out to those shallow points and then find the points with the rocks on them, and you're going to do really, really well. So before I leave, guys, I want to talk to you guys about one more thing, a little bitty secret here. We were out here fishing on Chambers, and one of the things that we noticed was that we found some tires that were out here. So if you come out here and you're fishing and you're out here, just wondering for an offshore spot, it's right out somewhere right around in here. So just do some scanning right around in here, and you're going to find all these giant tires that they've left out there. And the bass were actually suspending right over those tires. We could see them. Unfortunately, I didn't know how to catch them. I didn't have the time to sit there and spend on figuring out how to catch them, but I'm telling you, there's huge bass down there right around in this area. There's huge bass down here around these tires, and they're suspending. They'll set right on top of those tires. A little bit hard to catch. We got a couple to chase the A-rig until I lost my A-rig in the tire. So kind of got frustrated with that, and then again, ran out of time. But telling you guys, there's some fish down there. Hey, until next time, hope you guys catch your PB. If you guys like these points I was talking about today when I was referring to the tournament, I've got them out there on the website, simplisticfishing.com. Go check it out. Definitely helps us out. Until next time, hope you catch your PB. Take it easy.